Hey y'all, it's Indigo here. I've got round 2 of the Grand Arena Championships. This is week 2 of the exhibition. Before I jump into the battles, I did want to tell you guys kind of what my strategy going into this round was. I haven't been able to get my Padme dialed in to be a good Darth Revan counter, and so I knew if he set his on defense, I was going to be stuck on it. But I hope for the same with mine. I put mine on defense, and I hope that with him setting his, that he would get stuck on mine. So going into this match, my kind of whole game plan was to set enough of a tricky defense that if he got stuck on my Darth Revan, I could play the efficiency game on the other half of the map and do the 2 zones plus the 1 extra battle more efficiently and thus win the match. And that was kind of the strategy that I had in my head. Well, it worked out a little bit differently because, as you can see the board, I got busy today, and by the time I could go in and do my actual fights, my opponent looks like he's exhausted all of his roster already. And you can see that he's got 1 squad left standing in the back zone up top, and he left 1 squad standing in the bottom zone. Both of those squads have multiple battles against him, and it looks like he's pretty tapped out, so I don't think he's going to get the clear bonus for either section. That means I need to do better than him and be ultra efficient in the sections I can clear outside of his Darth Revan to see if I can get the win. So my game plan is not to even try his Darth Revan, because it would take a top squad like Jedi Revan or Padme or something, and I don't want to burn that when that can be used efficiently against another squad. So I'm going to go ahead and go down south and clear off the teams he's got down there. I'm going to go ahead and start off with his Grievous team. You can see he's got a Gear 13 Grievous and a pretty stacked droids to go along with him. So we're going to start off with that team. Go ahead and take Traya with the Sith trio. Got Trooper in there as an extra tank. And then Thrawn. Have to have Thrawn. Mine's Gear 13, so I hope that would help with his survivability a little bit. But you got to have Thrawn to get that fracture off. So I fractured Magma, and someone told me in a comment to a previous video that if you isolate Grievous, the run will go smoother. Because when I tried without Thrawn and I couldn't fracture Magma to get rid of that taunt, I'm stuck isolating Magna, and Grievous just does his thing and decimates your team. So already lost Thrawn. He got crit like 59k or something, and he's gone. I mean, Gear 13 Grievous hits really hard. So, be on the lookout for that. Just basically got to keep the trio alive long enough that Nihilus can do his Annihilate. You can see Scion got tagged right there, but he came back because he had his Held by Hatred. Stuck behind Magna Taunt right there. So I was debating whether or not I should basic or just annihilate him. I went ahead and chose basic. That way I can go ahead and try and get the Annihilate off on General Grievous in a little bit. And I'm still just kind of stuck, trying to bide my time. Got to get rid of Grievous because otherwise he's going to just shred the team. Right there, he just knocked out Scion. Finally, I have my Annihilate ready. I can give it to Grievous right there. Throw an Isolate on Droidica just to get some protection up and try to heal. Already lost, 2 in this team, so the points aren't that great. But the good thing about Traya lead is that they'll heal up pretty quick. So working on doing that, trying to get every last banner I can, because we're going for efficiency here. So 51 banners for that match, but got it in 1, and that's what I needed. Okay, for this next match, his Jedi Revan squad, I went ahead and took my Jedi Revan. And they've gotten a little bit easier since back when we used to use them all the time in the arena, because you're not going to run GK with them anymore. so you don't have that constant taunt popping up and shifting your focus from, one character to the other. A lot of people don't even run Bastilla in there so that you can separate her off and make an extra team. Well, in mine, that's what I did. She's actually on defense and holding down one of my zones right now. So I got my Jedi Revan, Yoda, both of those are gear 13. I got Jolie, Old Ben, and then Hermit Yoda in there for the heals and the turn meter and the master's training. Figured all that stuff would be pretty helpful. It's been a while since I've done a Revan mirror match, but my opponent went pretty heavy D, sticking both Revans on defense. Maybe he thought that I would get stuck or something or wouldn't save enough firepower. But I don't like to put both Revans on defense if I don't have to. One is enough, in my opinion. And I'm glad I had this other one because I need that firepower to be able to, get in there, get this job done. Trying to focus down his Revan right now. The thing about these is they just, it just takes time. Finally got rid of Revan right there. Just got to try and shift over to Jolie and put some work in on him before he, starts reviving and dragging the match out longer. Master's training again, so I can throw that on Revan. There went Jolie. Now the run gets quite a bit easier. So working on taking out his Yoda. Get rid of him. That's like the next biggest headache to worry about. So boom, there he goes. Now it's just down to his Ezra and then Plo Koon. So there went Ezra. Now it's just Plo Koon, and that ain't nothing. Just trying to make sure everybody's healed up, protection up, whatever I can do to get the most banners that I can get. Old Ben's a little low, but 59 banners, it's good enough for me in an efficiency game. I'll take it. I know what I have to get to win the match. I did the math, and I just got to be as close to 60 as possible. I've got a little room to spare, but not much. So I open up the back zone. He's got Django in there and then a Newt squad. I'm really glad to see that because even with Django lead, his bounty hunters are slower than my imp troopers. So I can go in and just imp these bounty hunters to death for a good 60 points all day, every day. So that's great. When your opponent gives you an easy squad that you have a dialed in counter for, that's awesome because I know that's what I need, a sure 60 banner win right here. And thankfully he didn't put something harder like, Geos or something else like with a full alpha squad. So the one good thing about this strategy is that since I don't have to save teams for that extra back zone that I'm never going to see, I can use my best teams to get the max points. So here he's got that Newt squad he's got Dooku in there, Nest, Acolyte, Dengar, just kind of a mix, but it's designed to, let that extortion spread around and you'll lose a bunch of health and really take down your banner count. I can definitely see why this team would work. So I went ahead and took in my CLS, Han, Chewie, and then I also got R2 in there, and you can't see him, he's behind Wampa, but I threw Wampa in there solely because of Nest. I know Wampa can ramp up to hit hard enough to one-shot Nest when the time comes. There's been too many times I've taken just a CLS squad in and ended up timing out because I couldn't get Nest down. Well, Wampa is going to solve that problem because Wampa can hit hard enough that you don't have to worry about the protection Nest constantly gets and just hitting and it doesn't go anywhere. So with the CLS trio, they can sit there and go through everybody, knock out who they got to knock out. Now it's down to just Nest and Dengar, and he's in stealth. So work on Nest here. And R2 can help with stunning Nest. That way there's no counterattack. Don't have to worry about that. I got Chewie with an AoE so I can still hit Dengar. Took out Nest right there. And Dengar follows easily. So 58 banners for that match. I'm happy with it. Every battle I'm doing the math and seeing what I need. and how much room I had to play around with on the last squad. And I know as long as I beat this last squad up there, he's got Night Sisters, and I've still got my Padme team. If I can beat that team efficiently, and my 2 defense zones hold, which they should, I got the win. So that's where I'm at right now. I counted it up, and my opponent has dropped a total of 21 battles. So if those are all 5-man squads, that's 105 characters. I mean, that's a pretty decent chunk of change. And the squad in back, the Bastilla squad, he's got 1 down off it, but the rest are like tanks. I mean, he hasn't taken much of anything off them, and they keep getting the protection bonuses every time he starts a new battle. So hopefully those will hold strong for me, and I can get this last squad off the board and take the win. So here we go. He's got his Darth Revan up there and his Night Sisters. And there's no way I can touch that Darth Revan. So I'll go ahead and take my Padme in against his Night Sisters. And let's do what they were made to do. They're a pretty good Night Sister counter team, especially when you put Zaris in there. All the extra healing really helps to keep the plague off and keep your team alive. Plus you got that passive healing whenever they get crit, which is nice. It's just constantly healing so that hopefully you just don't get, dogpiled or one-shot and Padme goes bye-bye or something. So got my Padme team doing their work, trying to get these sisters down. He did have G13 on his DACA, so I was a little worried about how her health might start stacking up. She's got a lot of health. But we'll go ahead and work on her, trying to get her down whenever I can get around that zombie taunt and do enough damage. Dealing with zombie taunt's a little bit of a pain, but got her down right there. And you just gotta wait it out. The good thing is this team has a lot of survivability. If you can keep that protection up on there, keep that up, and then Padme's got her healing ability, and Ahsoka can heal a little bit on her special ability. So hopefully, can get this done in short order and still come out on top with banner efficiency. That's the only thing going through my mind as I'm doing this fight, is win, but win efficiently enough that it matters. Always got to stop and do the math and make sure you've got a shot and you know what you're doing. I've seen too many people battle and never take a minute to pause and do the math and see how much room they have to work with and what they need to do. So please do that. That could be the difference between you win or you lose. And I sure don't want to lose. It's tough when you get these really hard matches to figure out a winning strategy. But this is the one that I felt would give me the best chance. I've been burned too much by trying to go after a Darth Revan and not being able to clear it lately. So put all my resources into that team and 57 banners. That'll bring me up to 1365. And my opponent has 1354. So 11 banner win. And that's it. Long as my defense holds, I'm sitting in the winner's chair, and we'll see you guys, in the next round. It may not be a pretty way to win, and some people may look at it and say, oh, that's a cheap way to go. It's all part of strategy in my book. You can look at the matchup and say, ahead of time, there's no way I'm going to counter his team if he sets it on D. So rather than waste all your teams and try something that you can't accomplish, play the smart game, plan out a strategy that does work. And in this case, if it holds, it works. So that's it for me. Shout out to my buddy Mikayas. He runs a modding service. He'll go through, make sure you got the right squad compositions and the right mods on the right characters. Give your account a real nice tune-up. I'll put the link to his Discord in my description. Go ahead and check him out. Tell him Indigo sent you. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share your comments down below, and hopefully you'll check out my other videos on my channel. Peace.